Howdy! In this mini lecture we will discuss forests, their value, and current and historic deforestation problems. The student learning objectives of this video are: summarize the ecological and economical contributions of forests and outline the history and current scale of deforestation. You're probably familiar with forests. I'd venture to guess you've been in one. I'm hoping you have at least. But did you know there are a variety of types of forest, with each type being categorized and defined by dominant tree species? For example, the eastern U.S. has forest types that are significantly different from the western U.S. In the east, you'll find forests like spruce fir, oak hickory, and longleaf/pine. In the west, you'll find forests such as Douglas fir, hemlock spruce, and pinyon juniper. The forest biomes found in the U.S. include temperate deciduous forest, one on the east coast, temperate rainforest, one on the west coast, boreal in Alaska, and tropical rainforest in U.S. territory Puerto Rico. My personal favorite forest type is the ponderosa pine forest. If you ever get a chance, go smell a ponderosa pine. They smell like vanilla. I fell in love with this forest because of the time I spent at Philmont Scout Ranch in Cimarron, New Mexico, both as a scout and as a backcountry staff member. Do you know the difference between a forest and a wooded area? Forests are defined as any ecosystem with a high density of trees. Wooded areas are ecosystems with a low density of trees. Forests cover 31% of the Earth's surface. The most widespread forests are the boreal forests of the northern latitudes and the tropical forests near the equator. Forests provide priceless ecosystem services. To name a few, forests regulate moisture and precipitation patterns, prevent erosion and flooding, recharge aquifers, purify water, return organic material to the soil as leaf litter. Forests also enhance our quality of life by influencing culture, providing aesthetic beauty, enhancing health, and providing recreation and adventure opportunities. Additionally, forests store carbon, which is of great international interest because if carbon can be stored in forests, this can help to reduce the effects and extent of climate change. Consequently, cutting down forests worsens climate change. Forests also provide us with valuable economic resources as well. Industrial harvesting has allowed us to extract more timber than ever before. Some of the forest types used for timber extraction include boreal forests, rainforest, and southern pine plantations and western coniferous forests in the U.S. Commercial products we can derive from forests include medicines, fuel, paper products, food, and lumber for building ships, homes, and other buildings. Our demand for the material goods we create from forest products and our need for land to grow food to feed our growing population causes us to clear forested areas. This has led to deforestation, or the removal of trees at a rate that exceeds forest regeneration. Deforestation causes declines in biodiversity, soil degradation, desertification, and contributes to global climate change due to the release of stored carbon and the loss of a carbon storage sink. Sadly, deforestation is what propelled the expansion and growth of the U.S. and Canada during the 19th century. During this time, much of North America's native and primary forests were cleared for the development of farmland and constructions of cities. By the 20th century, most of the primary forests, which are forests with no clear visible indicators of human activity, were destroyed, as this image illustrates. According to the UN Forest Resource Assessment in 2005, there were 1 billion acres of forest in the U.S. prior to European settlement. Researchers at the University of Michigan estimate that since 1600, 90% of primary forests in the continental U.S. have been cleared. The primary forests that do remain are referred to as old-growth trees. Trees that sprout after old-growth timber were cut are called second-growth trees, which form secondary forests. The inherent problem with the logging industry is that unless a sustainable forestry management system is put in place, loggers will lose their jobs when the region is depleted of marketable trees. The logging companies will then move on to a new region. Now that the ancient trees of North America have been harvested, many logging companies have transferred their operations to developing countries. Since the majority of North America's forests were cleared in the 19th century, deforestation in North America has slowed largely because there are relatively few primary forests to harvest anymore. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean deforestation has stopped. Now we see that rapid deforestation is occurring in developing countries. This is especially true in Indonesia, West Africa, Central America, and Brazil. Specifically, tropical rainforests in Southeast Asia and Indonesia are being cleared for palm oil plantations. Palm oil is used in snack foods, soaps, cosmetics, and as a biofuel. Clearing forests acts as a positive feedback loop because if some forest is cleared, this encourages further development and even more forest to be destroyed. As roads and other infrastructure are built for the palm oil plantation, this increases illegal logging because there are now roads in areas that previously did not have a well-established and easy-to-travel transit route. One thing I want you to consider is the trade-off that is being made between growing a crop for biofuel and preserving national forests. Don't despair, though. Uncut tropical forests still remain in many developing countries, such as Brazil, Indonesia, and West Africa. These countries are desperate, though, for economic development and of foreign capital, which means that there are few logging restrictions in these countries than other well-developed countries. Loggers who want to harvest resources from developing countries often pay a concession, which is a fee paid by a foreign corporation to a government for the right to extract resources. While the country receives some revenue from concessions, the economic benefits of deforestation are short-term. Furthermore, there is little incentive for the foreign corporation to manage the forest sustainably or to hire local workers. The jobs that are created are temporary, only lasting as long as the resource. The wood is usually exported to North America and Europe, so all in all, the party that profits and benefits from this agreement is the foreign corporation, and the developing country is left with a wasted landscape. One effort that has been used to stem the tide of deforestation in developing countries is for conservation organizations to buy concessions to preserve, not cut forests. These concessions are called conservation concessions, and they essentially pay the developing country not to harvest and exploit their natural resources. One project that helps reduce deforestation in developing countries is the Palm Oil, Timber, and Carbon Offsets Project, or POTICO. The World Resources Institute, or WRI, runs this project. The WRI works with palm oil plantation companies to steer them to land that is already developed and to help them make their plantations sustainable. This allows the WRI to either protect the forest that would be developed or allow Forest Stewardship Council, also known as FSC, certified sustainable forestry on the land. Another program aimed at helping to mitigate the effects of deforestation is the Reducing Emissions from Deforestation and Forest Degradation, or REDD project. This is a program developed at a recent international climate conference that asked wealthy nations to pay poor nations to conserve their forests. In exchange, the wealthy nations receive carbon credits to offset the emissions. Through this program, Norway is paying Guyana up to $250 million to preserve the forests of Guyana. That concludes the mini lecture on forests and the current and historical significance of deforestation. Please review the weekly outline and complete the activities for this week per the schedule set forth in the outline. Thanks and gig 'em!